welcome back Ravenswood Bluff. I am Keith from the Cutlass Board Games channel, and I'm here with another batch of custom characters. This time, I've made a couple of travelers. So, a lot of the times, in my experience, a traveler joins the game, and they either have an instant impact or they're ignored. The instant impact ones being like the gunslinger, where the gunslinger will shoot one person and then they'll be put away. Same with the butcher. And then some other characters like the beggar or the harlot, where people are like, no, I will never do that. It makes it really hard to be a traveler. And so I've created a set of 4 travelers that have the goal of you show up, you know nothing about the game, but you can try and solve the game with your ability, and your ability will provide either useful information to you if you're on the good team to try and solve the game, or if you are evil, useful information that you can use to help steer the game towards an evil victory. Now, let's start at the top, shall we, and work our way down. Our first one being the Zeppeler. So the Zeppeler has an ability similar to the Balloonist, and its name comes from a pun of Zeppelin and an Italian pastry, but it has a similar ability to the Balloonist, where each night learn 2 players that are not the same character type. Now, the Balloonist does not specifically include Traveler, and whether or not the Zeppeler should, I think, would only be if there was maybe multiple Travelers in the game, or something that made Travelers potentially change character type. Otherwise, then you would just have the same 4 types. But the Balloonist ends after 4 nights of information, whereas the Zeppeler can continue to get more. And Evil Zeppeler will know the demon immediately, so they'll ever know that if the demon is shown to them in their information, then they can lie about that. They can pick other 2 players. The Zeppeler being evil and speaking 2 townsfolk every night. And being like, yeah, look, this is what I got. You guys, one of you has to be an outsider or a minion or something like that. And especially if you have hidden characters like the drunk or the marionette, trying to make the townsfolk have doubt as to whether they are actually the character that they think they are can be pretty powerful. And so whether or not you're going to trust the Zeppeler's information or whether or not they can try and solve the game on their own is going to be pretty relevant. Because the information can help kind of bust some bluffs. Like, this is pretty much a townsfolk ability. However, it doesn't add an outsider like the Balloonist does. But it's not like I need to get one of each. You could get a townsfolk and an outsider 4 times in a row. And also doesn't specify that you have to see a new person every single time. So there's a lot of freedom there for the storyteller to pick that information. And also a lot of creative freedom for an evil Zeppeler to try and pick things apart. For example, there might be an outsider that you want to keep in play, and the Zeppeler might find them to help the evil team and steer the demon to making better choices at night as to who they should be killing. So I think there is a lot more space for travelers to have information abilities that do contribute to the game in a unique way. And I think this is going to be an interesting one to get us started. But next, we've got the Confessor. This is possibly the most complicated of the 4. Each night, you learn 1 new player who has received misinformation this game. If there are no new players to learn, this information is arbitrary. So new player just refers to a person that has not been indicated to you previously. And this character is really good in a poison or drunk heavy script where you might detect a marionette or a drunk. You might detect the path that the poisoner has picked through. You might be able to discover an Odashi by seeing 2 people neighboring a particular player. What is interesting about this is that earlier on in the game, either there's no poisoning or there is poisoning, and you'll find someone, and that will either be really concrete information or it'll be arbitrary. And then later on, a person might become poisoned or whatever, and then it becomes much more concrete. And then you can kind of slowly go, okay, this night's information must have been false, this one doesn't work, and then you can help try and piece together where and how all of the poisoning happened. However, an evil confessor at any time can be like, oh, that really crucial piece of information that you've just been given for your team, I'm pretty sure you're poisoned that night because I was indicated you. We should dismiss that. Which gives a lot of power to both the good and evil versions of the Confessor. The evil Confessor can do a lot of damage by discounting information that the good team has, and the good Confessor can try and solve the game by removing which pieces of misinformation exist. Next up is the Cogbelcher. Each night asterisk, choose clockwise or anti-clockwise. You learn the character of the nearest player that does not share your alignment in this direction. Sounds a little bit complicated, I know. So, you are the Cogbelcher. You are on the good team. Directly to your right, so that'll be anti-clockwise, is the demon. You say anti-clockwise, you will learn the character that the demon is. Let's say Nadashi, let's say Vortox, whatever. The Cogbelcher is unaffected by both of these things. You learn that character is in play, but you do not know have the distance between yourself and that character in that direction, because it's the nearest character that does not share your alignment. So if you're the good Cogbelcher and the entire evil team is clockwise to you and you pick anti-clockwise, you'll see the first one that is around the circle on that side, and you will learn that character. So if there's an evil player sandwiched between two other evil players, you won't be able to see them. You'll only ever see what the nearest evil player is. So you'll go, oh, I know it's exactly this demon type because I've seen Nadashi. I know it's a Vortox because I've seen Vortox, and I'm not a townsfolk, so my ability can't malfunction in this way. That's what a good Cogbelcher would be doing. They'll see evil characters in play, and they'll tell people about the evil characters in play. An evil Cogbelcher has to understand that that's how a good Cogbelcher will function, and then they can tell the town the wrong in-play evil players, or unhelpful ones, like ones that we're pretty confident are in play already, or the wrong evil twin candidate, for example. But at night, the evil Cogbelcher is still learning information about the town, and you pick one side and you go, okay, I learned what they are. They haven't died yet, so I'll pick the other side, and you will learn the characters that are in play, and then similar to the Zeppeler, you can use that to indicate good kills to the demon. If you are shown any powerful townsfolk. This is a great character because I think that the evil one does have a relevant way to set up good players as evil candidates and also discover good targets for the demon to kill. Whereas the good Cogbelcher, I think, does have the ability to potentially solve the game by just learning what the in-play characters are. And even if the town has struggles to trust the traveler, which is currently how things are, then the Cogbelcher can try and solve the game on their own. And then that leads us to our last traveler. And this one I think is particularly interesting. This one is particularly interesting if you believe the players do not trust travelers. They're really likely to exile them all. So this is the Eavesdropper. You and all players think you are a different traveler, but you are not. So the Eavesdropper will come into play, and Sarissa will go, hey everyone, this is the Cogbelcher. The Eavesdropper also thinks that they are the Cogbelcher, but you will just give them rubbish information or whatever. Or if they are like an active thing, then that will not function. So you would have to pick a traveler that can malfunction, like the Harlot, like something that is unseen, like the Beggar, or something that people will probably not do a thing. And then if you are exiled, you become evil and see the Grimoire. So regardless of your alignment, you will become evil and see the Grimoire. The point of this character on the script as a traveler, regardless of whether that is a used traveler or not, is to encourage people to not instantly exile a traveler, actually play with them, listen to what their information and stuff is. Because if you do exile them and they do turn out to be the Eavesdropper, they get big upside, especially in a script that doesn't have the Widow or the Spy. then they can give all this information to the evil team and then leave if they wish. But as a dead, exiled traveler with all the information in the game that they can just pass the demon however they want, that can be really detrimental to the good team. So I do really like the idea of the you think you are. I think this is one of the greatest mechanics in the game because it gives you an additional level of puzzle to solve. And this is the only category that doesn't have one currently. I think this is an interesting one, especially if you have a script laid out where like these are the travelers used on this script, and people kind of know in advance. You go, okay, these are the info characters, and like these 4 in particular are supposed to work together in a set, but not for a specific script. I think they would all work really well in something like Sex and Violence if you wanted to just like specifically try them out in that script. Because there's misinformation in it, like the Confessor has things to do. The Cogbelcher interacts really relevantly with all of the demons in Sex and Violence, and the Zeppler will always just get relevant information. And like especially with Trouble Brewing and BMR, we have the Lunatic and you have the Drunk. The Zeppler is also going to be really relevant there. And then you have the Eavesdropper, which is like, be nice to the Traveler, please. And so I think these 4 will work really nicely together. I will be looking forward to using them on custom scripts that I will be building in the future. If you want to try them out, get into the description where I will have a JSON pasted that you can copy all the characters out of and you can use them in your own custom scripts. You can just paste them right onto a Sex and Violence script if you wish and try them out for yourself. And let me know what you think. I think making the custom travelers has been interesting, and it's a different way of thinking about how the game comes together. And there isn't any really information travelers. The best traveler is the Apprentice because it just allows you to be a character in the game as if you were there at setup. And then using that idea of I could just be an info character and try and help solve the game. Then what if we just actually had travelers that functioned like that? As if they were just, really powerful information townsfolk from the start. Then these now exist. These now exist to solve that problem, that lacking. And now you can go and try them out for yourself and let me know what you think. If you think they're fun, you want to change something with them, let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments and we can make some cool travelers together.